Yeah, good morning, everybody. We're talking about I-2109, the proposal to reject and repeal the state's capital gains tax. It took effect last year, if you haven't noticed, and it levies a tax on 7%, a tax on the sale of exchange of long-term assets like stocks and bonds. It does not apply to real estate transactions. Now, most of us don't have to really deal with this tax because it covers gains above $262,000 per transaction. In other words, if someone had $263,000, they would have to pay $1,000, or I should have to pay 7% on that 1,000 above 262. So last year, revenue was actually down for this tax, but it still brought in $433 million in revenue. All of that money going to the Washington Education Legacy Trust account. Teachers are the ones most outspoken against this tax, and state and national unions are among the big donors to try to prevent 2109 from passing, so they can keep money into education. I caught up with Jessica Olson. She's an elementary school teacher on Mercer Island and says since the capital gains tax has been collected, more student education, special education students have had access to her class because of extra funding for paraeducators.
We need additional supports in order to help these other students, these new students in our classroom, access the general education that they deserve without also burdening our middle class with more taxes. And I think this capital gains tax really answers that question nicely.
But those who want to repeal the capital gains tax says it has more harm than good because it is a backdoor income tax, they call it. Vijay Bonapati is a software engineer and spokesman for the I-2109 campaign called Let's Go Washington. He says all the tax does is punish success.
I think having a capital gains tax is a big disincentive for people to come to our state now, and I think that's going to do tremendous harm to our economy going forward. I want people to think about what would our state look like if we hadn't had Amazon, if we hadn't had Microsoft founded here. It would be a completely different state. We benefit from the best and brightest coming to our state.
And we have brand new insight into how voters appear to be leaning on this issue. Our exclusive King 5 poll suggests an overwhelming number of voters want to reject I-2109 and keep the capital gains tax. 55% in this poll say no. And a poll of 700 likely voters in Washington state. Also a big gap when it comes to the liberal voter base, and conservatives, liberals more apt to vote to reject I-2109 to keep the education funding. Conservatives seem to be more apt on the yes side.
Yeah, one thing to note here, Jake, the capital gains tax really only affects a very small sliver of the population here.
Right, exactly. So don't know about you, but I'm not making $262,000 in transactions in my stocks and bonds. But if you notice the Department of Revenue, as far as they're concerned, 3,000 payments were made last year because of this tax. That's 0.03% of the population that are taxed.
What a wonderful and clear explanation of this. Thanks so much, Jake, for your insight.